Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Tuesday postgraduate support group meeting. I'm Leni Liebenberg, and I'll be leading this two-part session focused on mentorship. And today we'll start off with a crash course, a 101 on what mentorship is, what its benefits are, and how to begin your mentorship journey. And in the next session, which will be in 2 weeks' time, to accommodate the Easter holiday and people going on vacation. So on the 25th of April, we will then focus on a more practical aspects of mentorship, things like finding a good mentor, approaching a mentor, how to get the most out of your mentorship relationship, and so on. So we'll be covering quite a bit of ground today and in the next session on the 25th of April. So I wear two hats. I mentor formally in professional bodies like the African Academy of Sciences and the CAPRISA Clinical Research Placement Program here at UKZN. But I'm also a mentee. I'm human, I guess. I'm human, I have goals, I also want to learn, and I also need support in order to achieve my goals, which is one of the main benefits, I think, in mentorship. So I have fantastic and not so fantastic mentorship experiences as both a mentee and a mentor. And these experiences have fueled my passion to help as many many mentorship relationships succeed, and to help as many new young researchers grow, and to develop a culture of mentorship that does the same. So today and next session, I hope we'll be able to learn together, and that this will be a very interactive session, as I like these meetings to be. So please type any questions that you might have in the chat box. Raise your hand if you'd like to say something. Use those reaction icons as well if you'd like to express yourself in that way. If you'd prefer to send a message anonymously, that's fine. Send it to me as a DM. Speaking of DMs, send me a message and I will relay your question or your comments to the group in an anonymous fashion if you'd prefer as well. So, I mean, I would really appreciate participation as a speaker, and I'm sure you'd also like participation as part of this community. Last point, I also encourage you to have a browser open. So I like to use Mentimeter. Oh, you can't see that now. I will send you the link to www.menti.com. I love using that for my polls and just to get a general understanding of where you are right now. So with that said, let's get this started. What is mentorship? You know, it's nice to start with a definition. Why are you here with me this Tuesday afternoon? What is this word? What is this concept? Why do people keep speaking about mentorship like it's a good thing? Is it a good thing? What is this thing that funding bodies are now increasingly requiring you to describe in your funding applications? Yeah, so I guess if there were any early career researchers in this session, you're probably listening now, right? Suddenly, these people are wanting you to describe mentorship, and you're like, what's this mentorship thing, and why do I need it in order to get money? And quick answer, funders like to see that you have the support of experienced professionals to help you achieve your vision. So yeah, there's a clue about what mentorship actually is. If you'd like, you're welcome to jot down what you think mentorship is in the chat box, and we can compile any differences and similarities and really just get into it during a discussion. I'll try and monitor the chat box as well. And while you're doing that, I guess I'd like to just share a response that I got when I recently asked somebody what mentorship is, as I like to do. And their response was, mentorship is guidance from a mentor. I mean, and she gave me this deadpan face, like, how could you ask me something so silly? Mentorship is, it's guidance from someone. And in essence, like it's, this person is absolutely right. But that was a very, I think, simplistic way of describing mentorship. And of course, me being me, I had loads of questions. So let's just spend a couple of minutes to unpack this concept of mentorship. So mentorship is guidance. It's guidance by someone, presumably a mentor, with you. And it's specifically related to a sharing of knowledge or skills or life experiences. And mentor, who is this person, or who are these people who are willing to help you? So now I say people here because you can absolutely have more than one mentor at a given time, and then that's fine, it's wonderful. These mentors are experienced. They have the knowledge that you are interested in learning. They have the skills you're interested in developing. They have the life experience or the professional experience that you're inspired by, and they act as advisors or trusted counselors. And you would be learning from these mentors' experiences. You would be accessing their life experiences, their career lessons. You might be accessing their networks, or whatever sorts of resources they'd like to share with you or you need from them to accomplish your goals. So this mentor, I guess, is also someone who is actually interested in helping you acquire the skills that you'd like to have, or the skills that you'd like to develop in the way that you want to develop, or to meet who you want to meet or need to meet, or just somebody to provide even the ear or the encouragement that you might need along your upward trajectory. And that, I guess mentorship, the way I describe it now, sounds so nice. I think it's because I'm quite biased. I've had wonderful experiences, more wonderful experiences than not with mentorship. And I love this concept of being guided to reach your goals by someone with experience, and someone who's in it for the long haul, and someone who's as invested as you are in seeing yourself develop and succeed. And if you've had a mentor and your relationship doesn't sound the way I just described in a lovely way what mentorship is, you are very welcome to describe your experiences in the chat box, and we can discuss further during this session, or in the next session where we describe how to optimize the mentorship relationship. But first, here we go. It's the first time we're going to be testing the interaction in the session. So if you could, please open up your browser. If you have access to a browser, please go to www.menti.com and use the code 8450. It's on the screen right now, and 9200. So you'll be prompted to choose the academic qualification you are pursuing. So give me a second, exit, and I will put it up on the screen. Let me see if you can see that. You should be seeing a question saying, what academic qualifications are you pursuing? If you are not, please let me know. Okay, the silence. I'm assuming that you guys can see the academic qualification slide. Yes?
Yes, we can see it.
Fantastic. Oh, good. Somebody responded. Wonderful. So there are a couple of people who are doing their PhDs right now. I note asterisks here next to the postdocs because, I mean, I know it's an age-old problem. You aren't really considered a student as a postdoc. You're not pursuing an academic qualification. So please do excuse the terminology over here. I mean, I recognize we also might have some early career postdoctoral researchers in the forum. Well, I guess we're going to see now. Please indicate there under postdoc if you are doing postdoctoral research. You have other options of honors, masters, PhD, postdoc, or other. I guess it doesn't matter if you're doing full-time or part-time qualifications here. I know there are quite a few professionals in this group who are pursuing another degree, and this concept of mentorship will be relevant throughout. I mean, now I guess I'm 10 years postdoc. I still consider myself a postdoc. I should probably do this with you as well. Let me do that too. But it seems like the majority of us are, that one postdoc is me. I like this live thing, it's awesome. Okay, stay on there because now we're going to have another question. What is your academic mentorship status? You have a couple of options over here. One would be, I don't need a mentor. I don't have a mentor, but I'd like mentorship. I have a mentor. I have a couple of mentors. This is just to give me, the group, a sense of, you know, who's involved over here. And this is all anonymous, by the way, so I have no way to know whose answer is what. I'm not judging you, and I wouldn't judge you anyway. Okay, so it seems to be pretty even. Nobody so far is saying that they don't need a mentor. And it's nice to see that there are a couple of people who have a couple of mentors. Let's see. Okay, so I think we pretty much established that people are interacting and can use menti.com. That's fantastic. And it's nice to know that everybody participating within the session is interested in mentorship. Fantastic. And I guess we can continue this discussion. Right now, let me move that up. Yeah. Thank you for participating in that part of the session. Okay, so I'm going to move on to what the benefits of mentorship are, just as a refresher for those who are interested in finding a mentor. I did note that there were a couple of you. So mentorship, in essence, provides an opportunity for practical advice from somebody who has the experience in the area of development that you are interested in. So this is an opportunity for you to develop strategies for things like managing personal, academic, career development challenges, which is fantastic. Another benefit is the encouragement provided by a supportive relationship. Your mentor should support and challenge you and grow you and to an extent that you meet your goals. And through this interaction, you're likely to then gain confidence, which is fantastic, and become more empowered to make decisions by yourself. So for me, I think that was the main benefit, the most profound thing for me when I first experienced a mentor was this concept that I wasn't alone. You know, you're struggling through something and you meet somebody who's offering you guidance, and it's ground shaking to see that this person has been through the same horror that you have, the same sort of frustrations, but they've made it out on the other end. And now you have an opportunity to learn from them how to get through that as well. You learn the confidence. I mean, because you see it being done, you're suddenly confident, hey, okay, they've done it. They're willing to help. I can do it as well. And there you go, moving on swiftly towards meeting your goals. The last one to me is support. I like that there's support provided through mentorship, and this is a massive benefit. Your mentor would be providing nurturing support by listening to you, really, really listening to you. asking questions, sharing their experiences, sharing their scientific knowledge, their research experience, sharing their networks. And they will listen to you and guide you according to the goals that the two of you had laid out together based on their experiences along a similar path. And the experienced mentors really do this very well, this concept of actively listening to what it is that you want and trying to identify what experience they have to be able to share with you in order to have you meet your goals. Look, you can do it alone. You might not even need a mentor. It might just take a little bit longer and might require a lot more effort and might require a lot more troubleshooting, but you can get there by yourself. But I'm hoping that after how I've explained what mentorship is and how good it can be, that you might find that finding a good mentor is the more appealing route than managing to do it all by yourself. Okay, so let's just have a mental break here before the next session, the next part of the presentation, and listen to what Denzel Washington says. So Denzel is here to drive home the point about the benefits of mentorship. He said, "Show me a successful individual and I'll show you someone who had real positive influences in his or her life. I don't care what you do for a living. If you do it, wow. I'm sure there was someone cheering you on or showing you the way, a mentor." I love that. It just makes me want to go out and find another mentor. Or if you're in a position, be a mentor. So there are different kinds of mentoring. There can be the formal route, and this is usually characterized by intentionality, where the partners in the relationship ask for and offer the mentoring. They establish goals for the relationship. They make agreements about its nature. And this is sometimes conducted through mentorship programs with specific goals, like helping participants develop their careers. And examples of these would be the AAS, African Academy of Sciences, still at UKZN, Sante at UKZN, Caprisa. Stellenbosch University also has a lovely formal mentorship platform with an app. And I learned today that there are plans to have a formal mentorship program at UKZN, piloted in the School of Clinical Medicine, and then expanded to the other schools as well. Yay! So this program is coordinated by one of the participants in this meeting, and she'll be available to chat more about it with us in the next session after the Easter recess on the 25th of April. So yay, watch the space. Okay, so after describing formal, there is also the informal way of mentoring, and this is usually very spontaneous. Many of you are already mentors. You are a role model to somebody. You provide advice and counsel when you are asked, based on your experiences. So, I mean, using that definition, some of you might actually be mentors and not even know it. And this would be in an informal capacity. And these informal types of mentoring are also sometimes found within the context of other relationships, like peer relationships. You often see it, people working together, someone has experience in something and you need it, so you ask them. And it's a short temporary relationship and nobody's signing any contracts or whatever. Another example of where this could also be done within the context of another relationship is supervision. Your supervisor might also be your mentor. But let me just take a minute here just to quickly highlight that supervision is different from mentorship, especially in the South African academic construct. Mentorship can be an aspect of supervision, but there are fundamental differences between the two, and conflicts might arise between the two as well. So one of the main differences between supervision here in this context and mentoring is that supervision is often task orientated. So you'd need to, it's focused on completing a thesis, so completing a dissertation. And this involves direct assessment of academic performance. And this is different to mentorship, which involves, I guess, a more long-term relationship that can be more encouraging of different aspects of an individual's personal or even professional development as well. So you'd find a supervisor might say something like, here's my feedback, make sure you are I expect to see this and this and this. Whereas a mentor might say things like, can I share with you this process that I used to blah, blah, blah. Or in that situation, yes, I've listened to you and now I'm going to respond. If in that situation, I would recommend doing this, this, and this because of my experience in this and this and this. Or here is the tool that I use to do this and this and this. You're welcome to use it or not, that's fine. Or how do you feel about that? You know, that often, I get that often, and it kind of sounds like, you know, therapy. How do you feel like that? So to be honest, I do sometimes feel like my sessions with my mentors are more like therapy with somebody who believes in my potential and who has no hidden agenda, and it really just cleared their busy day just for a little bit of time to help me grow. And to me, that is wonderful. That's when mentorship is done right. So I'm sure many of you with supervisors have supervisors who also perform a mentorship role, and that can be great. That can be wonderful. I'm a supervisor who performs mentorship roles as well. And because of that, I can tell you that the supervisor as mentor might experience some conflict now and again, and that can become problematic. So say, for example, you have a supervisor who might notice that you may be constantly underperforming, or you could be procrastinating or angling to leave the project for another project, or leave for a job instead. And the supervisor might just, you know, try harder for you to meet certain deadlines. And this push would be driven more by an interest in you know, meeting KPIs or recognizing the impact that your leaving would have on the funding that they're getting, or something that it's different to what a mentor would feel, I guess. A mentor instead in that situation might tell you something like, you know, I listened to you. I know what you said. It sounds like you're very unhappy. And I've seen that you've tried really hard, but you also have the potential to do something else. Maybe this isn't actually for you, and that's okay. Have you considered this? Have you considered that? And I will support you as best I can. What do you need to get there? How can I help? You know, so now you can see how there can be conflicts, can be a little problematic if your supervisor is your mentor, and I hope that they would be able to recognize that conflict and try and do what's best for you as well. But an additional fail-safe for you is to also make sure that you have more than one mentor. So you can have different people contributing to different parts of your professional development as well. So not just only your supervisor. And in the next session, we'll speak more about how to approach and find and secure additional mentors. Okay, 30 minutes in, here's another mental break. So Whoopi Goldberg, good to see these little text to image pictures here. Just as an aside, we were informed that copyright law might make it difficult for us to share these sessions. And the text to image craze at the moment is a very interesting thing to use to try and work around that. So anyway, let me get on to this Whoopi Goldberg cartoon text to image. She says, "We are here for a reason. I believe a bit of this reason is to throw little torches out to lead people through the dark. Now, to me, Whoopi raises an important feature about mentorship, both the informal mentorship and the formal mentorship, and this is community. I think one of the most important benefits for me that I've experienced is knowing that you are not alone. I know I just said it, but I'm going to say it again. The concept that you are not alone, working with somebody who has been through what you have and passed through it, someone who's experienced the dark and has figured out the wonders of fire and is sharing that light with you. It's amazing. This quote, I think, also raises another important issue about mentorship, and that is that the mentee should know what it is that they want before embarking on a mentorship journey. If somebody comes to you and said, hey, do you want a mentor? And you say yes. Okay, not knowing why you want a mentor in the first place, that might be a problem down the line. You might not get the most out of the mentorship journey. Do you want somebody to just shine a light for you? Or do you also want to learn how to build and light your own fire? So now that you have a general sense of what mentorship is and how it can help you, I'm going to switch my focus slightly and hone in on one of the most important bits about mentorship. And if you have any questions or any comments about what I've just said about mentorship in the past couple of minutes, please pop them in the chat box. We'll get through them towards the end, or if there's anybody else in the community who would like to address any comments within the chat box, please, by all means, let's interact. Next session, we'll be able to get into the nitty-gritty about finding and approaching a mentor and defining the responsibilities of mentee and mentor within the relationship, and just generally optimizing the relationship to achieve your goals. But before we get into that, I'd just like to speak about what I think is the most fundamental part about mentorship. And that's you. I hope you're not surprised to learn it. You are the most fundamental part of your mentorship journey. To be effective, mentorship cannot just be something that happens to you, that's given to you. You should be an active participant. You should be the driver of your mentorship journey. And someone out there might be willing to help you succeed or to meet your goals, and that's fantastic. But you would need to give them quite a bit of direction on how they can assist you. So I would strongly suggest quite a bit of introspection before you start looking for a mentor. You would need to know things like, what is your goal? What are your goals if you have many? And what do you need to achieve these goals? What sorts of tools, what sorts of skills do you need to develop in order to get where you need to be? And what sort of support you need? What team do you need to help you achieve these goals? So in the next couple of minutes, what I'd like to do is just break down each of these concepts. I noticed that some of you on the call may have heard me speak about this before. It's because I love speaking about mentorship, and this is fundamentals, and I am going to repeat it again and again until I'm absolutely sure that so many people know about this and find a mentor. You're still welcome to listen to this and contribute in the chat. Okay, number one. What is your goal? What do you want? Finding support through mentorship begins with you realizing and knowing and acknowledging what you want in the first place. What is this thing that you want to be? That you want to be this kind of person, or in this role, or in this job by a particular time in your life, or whatever your goal might be. Understanding, learning what that is the first step, I think, along your mentorship journey. So for me, it was when I ended my PhD a while back, To be absolutely honest, I didn't know. I didn't know where I wanted to be. I guess, the world's your oyster. Do you want to stay? Did I want to stay in research? I'm going to try it for a couple of years. I might decide I want to be in industry. I might decide I want to be a lecturer, professor. I might decide I don't want to do any of it and start baking for the rest of my life. I don't know. I did not know where I wanted to be in 10 years, what sort of job I wanted to have in 10 years. But I do know how I'd like to be described in 10 years' time, no matter what my career choice was. I wanted to be my 10-year self to be someone who's established, someone who's successful, someone who's happy. I wanted to be a mama. I wanted to be a mother. I wanted to be rich. And then I realized, no, I can't have everything. Comfortable is fine. Science is not going to make you rich. Comfortable is fine. So I didn't know what my career would be, honestly speaking. I did know what I'd like to be described as. And that's quite an interesting concept. Like, have you actually thought about it? Have you thought about where you see yourself in 10 years' time or 5 years' time? I mean, you might not picture yourself in a particular role. You're welcome to put it down in the chat box. You probably have a sense of what you'd like to be described as, you people with all the PhDs in here, some masters. But let's spend some time on this introspection. So let's get to menti.com again. I'll put it up on the screen, and we can list 3 words that describe the you in 10 years' time. So I'll put it live in a second. Okay, so the code is up there. Oh, shoot. Is anybody having success on this? Let me just put it here. Okay, there we go. Now it should work. Okay. So if you go to Mentimeter, menti.com, and you use that code 55766065, you should be able to do it. I'll do it with you as well. 57766065. This is going to look so interesting on the playback. List 3 words that describe the you in 10 years. I'm noting that the time of year indicates that some might not have thought about this. And it's quite an eye-opener for you right now, isn't it? You can, apparently you can input multiple answers. And if you can't access Menti, please put it in your responses in the chat box. I'm very interested in understanding where you see yourself in the next 10 years. I wonder if this is up and running. Yeah, I see that, Tando. Tando says that I've responded on Menti, but it's not updating on your screen. I responded on Menti and it's not updating on my screen. So let me exit this and see, because it is still live. Oh, there we go. Page unresponsive. Thanks, Menti, for wasting my time live. Okay. I'm sorry, the page is unresponsive, so that kind of sucks, and I'm gonna have to move on, unless, of course, you're welcome to put down your comments under in the chat box. So in the meantime, okay, so for me, let's see, Snelle says a research professor in 10 years time. Tando says professor, inner-reflected researcher, adventurer. I like that, adventurer. I guess for me as well, established, financially successful, financially secure, a champion, the role model, in control, a PI, confident, employed in 10 years time. So I guess this concept of success it's interesting. Success means different things, different people. To me, I guess, at that time, 10 years ago, it meant that my family, my community, my peers can acknowledge the impact that I'm having on research or on the improvement on public health. And success today might mean something as simple as getting my kids to school in the morning without me having a tantrum or them having a tantrum. So success is it's variable, it's different things to different people. The point of this exercise was to have you thinking about what your goals are. Where do you want to be? And now that you have thought about it, let's assume that you have thought about it, you have a goal. So what do you need to achieve this goal? Can somebody just indicate that my slide is actually showing and that you're not seeing a picture of my child's drawing in the background? Thank you. Good. Okay, so now you know your goal. Now you need to understand what it is that you need in order to achieve this goal. So let me take you back to perhaps around the end of my PhD. Now, I decided back then, okay, I'm going to give this research scientist thing a shot. I'm going to explore my interest in the lab, and I loved finding answers to life skill mysteries from a biohazard hood. And it was wonderful just working with my little project and, in the zone, just really enjoying being right there. So I started a postdoc in basic science research here at KwaZulu-Natal a couple of years back. And I really enjoyed that, working on my own little project in my own little world. And then I was faced with this hard truth that as a postdoctoral researcher, life after you get your PhD, you need to start bringing in your own sources of substantial funding. You need to supervise students. You need to write grants. You need to fund not only yourself, you need to fund a team of people and maintain buy machines, maintain them, for a long time. And that freaked me out, it was quite a surprise. So let that be a lesson for those of you who are interested in postdoctoral life and thereafter, especially the PIs amongst us, that there's more to just a project. And having a mentor along that journey to help you with the, to succeed, to become that PI is very important. So I realized at that time that I needed to find money to answer the questions that I wanted to answer, to have the impact that I wanted to have. And to find money, I would need to become the kind of person that people wanted to give money to. So that was, I knew what my goal was, and now I realized what it was that I needed in order to achieve it. So who was this person that people would like to give money to, and how do I find out who that is? So I looked around for professional role models, and I had candid discussions about their journeys, which is great. So in hindsight, there was a lot of informal mentorship going on. You can also go to LinkedIn and look at CVs. You can have informational interviews as well. Those are fantastic. actually having a conversation with somebody who has experienced life working in the role that you're interested in, or having an experience that you've had, kind of like a mini mentor. So that's great. Another way as well to determine what you need in order to get where you want to be is to look at the eligibility criteria for certain jobs or certain grants, or even the CV format. I mean, you don't even need to do it. You can just look at what the CV is required. So for me, that was the biggest eye-opener. And I've said this before to many people in this group, and I'm going to say it again. Looking at the CVs, looking at the eligibility criteria for something that you might want to be in 10 years' time is a good way to set up a blueprint for you to get there in the first place and to find who to help you along that path. So I'm sure some of us on this call have experienced the NRF applications, filling in an NRF CV. And I guess, there's a whole lot of cringy moments where you've got these blank spaces where they ask you about, so how many patents have you developed? How many books have you written? How many chapters have you written? How much money did you get in? And it can be very, very daunting, like, oh, that's what I need to do. I don't have any of that. Oh, please still fund me. It's a scary experience. But it's interesting because you can either take it as a blueprint, as a challenge. That's what I need. Okay, let's check this along the way, along these 10 years. Or you could be like, oh no, this is too much. I'm never going to do this anyway. Goodbye. This is also where mentorship comes in, so that you don't actually do that, but you can stick to it and have somebody cheer you on based on their experiences. So as I said, I did mention this before, and I'm going to say it again because this has been shocking in my life. So this was for a research position application, and it might not apply to all of you, but my point is that it's useful to find what is needed to get to where you want to be. And in this case, I wanted to be an independent researcher. And these were the questions that were posed of me within the application, special sections within the CV. They ask the usual things like list your education, list your teaching experience and your research experience. And 10 years ago, I mean, I had some, but not a lot of teaching experience or research experience. But it had me thinking, if I wanted to be an independent researcher, I'm going to need to be able to find somebody to help me develop my supervisory skills, to learn how to teach effectively. Publications, list your many, many journal articles and your books and your book chapters and your conference papers and your patents. And at that point, I didn't have much of those, and I knew I needed to develop it. And I'm still developing that 10 years down the line. Your honors and awards. List the many seminars and the workshops that you've attended or given, and the certificates that you received for those. So professional development is also important on your way to becoming an independent researcher. Professional affiliations. List all the many bodies that you belong to, things that you like to talk about amongst people who are like-minded. Professional services. List the mountain of responsibilities that you also have, in addition to your projects and your students and your grant writing and all of that. Community service. List your extensive involvement in research field initiatives and volunteer programs and mentorship programs, etc., etc. And at this point, I had a mini freak out when I first saw this application form and all the blank spaces that I had. To be absolutely honest, I still have blank spaces. I mean, I can still feel the trauma now, and it was quite an eye-opener to what I didn't have or who I wasn't at the time. But after my little mini freak out and I clawed my way out of this imposter syndrome, oh, it was horrible. I realized that, I'd been presented with an amazing opportunity for development. And what I had in front of me really was a blueprint for what I wanted to become. And I realized that it's not as simple as I have this goal. It's not as simple as me saying, I want to be an independent researcher, a well-funded independent researcher. I want to be a Nobel Prize winner, or I want to be the head of a research institute. It's not that simple. I needed to understand what this actually entailed, what skills I would need to develop in order to get there, and then tick my way through that, develop myself professionally. And it's really, really worthwhile exploring it. I mean, you can discuss this with your mentor, and it's also useful for you to explore it yourself, even peripherally, to just really direct the energies that you and your mentor will put into you developing this goal together. So once you have acknowledged your goals, you really need to be very clear about what sorts of skills you'd like to develop in order to meet these goals. You need to be aware of your strengths. Be honest with yourself. What are you good at? What could need some work? You know, be aware of your no, I don't say weakness, your challenges. And I've listed a few skills that are very often relevant to professional development these days, like developing good interpersonal skills, administrative skills, management, pitching, writing, clinical, managing your work-life balance, leadership skills, supervision, public speaking, research itself, how to negotiate, how to teach, networking, presentations. These things are useful. And it's good to get a very strong understanding of where you want to be, how you need to grow in order to get there. Right, so I'm on the last one now. Once you know what it is that you need in order to achieve your goal, you'd have a better sense of identifying who the right person or who the right people, who your team would be to help you develop in the way that you'd like to in order to achieve this goal. Who has the experience that you need in order to grow in the way you need to grow? What kind of person is this? What kind of people are these? I say this again because you can have more than one mentor for many different aspects of your mentorship needs. Your mentor should have, of course, the necessary developmental needs, the experience, should have the necessary experience to guide you, to help you with your developmental needs. Your mentor should value honesty and integrity, and make sure that whatever you say is still taken in confidence. They should have your best interest at heart. And that should be a standard characteristic for your mentor. And this is also where you need to be aware of the sort of relationships and what sort of people who are able to get the best out of you. So, you know, if you're a little bit more sensitive and would probably prefer somebody more nurturing, not somebody who's going to give you the cold hard truths, you know, somebody who'd rather give you bite-sized pieces of this is what you need to do, maybe a little bit of fluff now and again, not push you, then that's the kind of person that, or the team that you might need best, that you might respond better to. It might be that you are the kind of person who needs a no-nonsense realist kind of person who's going to tell you like it is, no matter what, you know, warts and all. Or maybe you need somebody who's like super social and you're not, but you need networks. And that is the kind of person who would be able to share these with you and help you develop to be able to be social enough to be able to manage networks. So, you know, there's another bit of introspection for you. Picture you and your mentor or your imaginary mentor, if you don't have one. What sorts of qualities, and I'm not even going to bother with mentee now. I'm not sure what happened. So perhaps within the chat box, you can just spitball for me. Tell me what sort of traits, characteristics that you'd like in your mentor, whether it's somebody you don't know whether it's an ideal or whether it's your current person. What do you like about your mentor? What sort of characteristic do you value about them? What sort of environment do you need in order to help you develop in the way that you need to? So for me, I like that my mentor listens. Most of my mentors are actually all my mentors are women. They really, really listen to me, and they've experienced what I've experienced, and they are all women with integrity. They are super powered, and they see the ambition that I have and want to nurture that in a constructive way, and that's wonderful. So that's for me. You're welcome to put in the chat box what you think are good points, good character traits for a mentor to have. Right, so that was going to happen, but it's not going to happen anymore. So I'm going to just recap in this last couple of minutes. What was I saying for the whole hour? Yes, okay, mentorship. You need to know what your goal is, what you need in order to achieve it. And I hope I've directed you in a way to be able to identify how to find out what you need in order to achieve your goal. And then, of course, you're going to need to know what sort of support or the team that you need in order to achieve this goal. And, let me tell you, whoever has had a mentor before, and you can thumbs up me or thumbs down me if this is wrong, your mentor will likely ask you similar questions in your very first meeting. They're going to say something like, hello, X, how are you doing? Thank you for contacting me. So, what are your goals? What do you think you need in order to achieve them? And, of course, the most important one, how can I help you to achieve your goals? So if you have not actually thought about it, it might be possible that you're wasting your time and you're wasting this mentor's time, unless they're very nice and willing to work through what you might think that you want with you together. My main point is that your mentorship journey begins with you. And it's going to be a little rough sitting wherever you sit and you think about where you see yourself in 10 years' time and what you want out of life and what you need to achieve where you want to be. And it can be a little overwhelming, but just keep at it. And when you realize that you have a goal and you know what it is that you want, you can find a mentor. You can learn in the next session about how to find that mentor. You can contact me if you want. I'll put my email at the back and we could work through it together if you want. But find that team, that support group, this mentor. These mentors are going to be able to help you develop appropriately and reach the goals that you would like to reach. Right, so next week we're going to continue the mentorship journey. I'd just like to end off this session with a couple of mental breaks because I need it now. Here's a quote from Mother Teresa. It says, the first step to becoming is to will it. You will it. Here's another. A mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. A mentor is someone who allows you to know that no matter how dark the night, in the morning, joy will come. A mentor is someone who allows you to see the higher part of yourself, and sometimes it becomes hidden to your own view. Spielberg says the delicate balance of mentoring someone is not creating them in your own image, but giving them the opportunity to create themselves. And that comes from you. So I hope that this was very, very useful, informative. It was interactive. I'm sorry about the mentee, and it must be my little connection here. And now I have an opportunity to go through the chats, and I guess I'll work backwards. So there are some comments here about the kind of mentor that people would like, and that might resonate with some of you as well. Someone who gives constructive feedback, who's non-judgmental, somebody who is kind. Someone who's kind, that would have been a bigger word on the word cloud in Menti. Someone who is a good listener, someone who always has your best interest at heart, someone who will allow a mentee to be himself, since most people are more productive when they are comfortable. Seeing very positive things about this person, these people. A mentor who is kind and honest and available for you, empathic, a good listener, caring, non-judgmental. So those were comments about the mentor themselves. There's another comment. Do you think that it's better to have someone a few steps ahead of you as a mentor, or some way up there or ahead of you? I think it doesn't really matter. I mean, in my opinion would be as if this person has experience in what you want to achieve. It could be the person sitting next to you is doing the same degree. You know, it really does depend on the goal. Your mentor could be somebody who's younger than you, but they have the experience that you want in order to achieve your goal. They might have experienced something a while back and you haven't, and you might need to interact with them. And it's, okay, it's not only about age in that context. If it's somebody who's also just starting out on that experience, if you feel that that is useful, a useful way for you to develop, that is fine as well. Because you're going to need to know how to initiate that experience too. It depends on the goal, I think, okay, so there were lots of comments about what where people would like to be, and that's wonderful to see as well, because there are some people who are thinking about that. For those who have not, I suggest that you do. It's a wonderful place to start. And Elliot mentions that when he was doing his honors degree, his mentor eventually took the role of his supervisor. I hope that was a good experience for you, Elliot. Jan, are there any questions for me before I end all this talking? Before I introduce I have already introduced the content of the next session on the 25th of April. I'm just reminding you, I think I've said it a couple of times in the session, just to emphasize that I'm on a 2-week break because of the school's Easter recess, I guess. And then we'll see each other again on the 25th of April, where I'll be speaking a little bit more about optimizing the mentorship relationship, how to initiate this, whether it is in an informal way or a formal way. I'll tell you a little bit more, and about the new UKZN formal mentoring program that's coming up soon. And I hope that many people on this call are able to be involved in that as well. Yay, yes, I'm very excited about that too. So, right, thank you so much for listening. I hope I've convinced people who did not know where to start to find a mentor. It starts with you, yeah? And then I'll see you again on the 25th of April. You guys take care. Thank you for participating in this call. Thank you. And I will end today.